So, we're actually doing this. A review on a TV show with the CW and DC. Alright. So when Arrow first came out, it was amazing. The first season is beautiful. And in order to get into depth, because I'm doing this because of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and we'll be getting hooked up on that and whatever. So, in order to understand Arrow, we must go to the first season. We're going to do an analysis of all of this, and oh my god, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. But, review time. Anyways, so Arrow is a show about a man, Oliver Queen, a billionaire, who goes on a boat, the Queen's Gambit, because he's a billionaire, with his father, his ex-girlfriend's sister, whose name is Sarah, important later for season 2, and then the sink ships. What? The ship sinks, and he's stranded on an island named Lian-Yu, and the interesting thing about the show is that it takes place between two stories. The one in the present day where he is the Hood or the Green Arrow or the Arrow or whatever. And then there's the storyline in the flashback where he's on Lian-Yu, he meets Slade, Shadow, a bunch of stuff freaking happens. And so in order to get in depth with it, spoiler warning, okay? So let's get in depth into season 1. Alright, so what I told you. He is rescued by a bunch of merchants at the beginning of season 1. We see the Deathstroke, because, everyone likes Deathstroke's mask, on a pole. And so Oliver Queen, he's wearing a cowl, and he shoots an arrow at a fireplace, and it explodes. He is rescued, taken back home, where he has a bunch of scars on his body. We meet his mom, Moria Queen, who married his stepfather, his name is Walter White, and we also meet his sister, Thea Queen. Anyways, so, sorry, I'm just messing around. Okay, I'll stop messing around with that. Anyways, so we get on with it pretty quickly. We meet his best friend Tommy Merlin, his ex, Laurel Lance, who is mad at him for bringing her sister on the boat and causing her death. She drowned. Oh, hey, yeah. Anyway, so he has a bunch of interactions, and then he escapes a bunch of times. Then he and Tommy, if I already didn't make that clear, he's his best friend. Oh my god, I'm addicted to that. Anyways, so what happens is that they get kidnapped with guys, and they're asking what happened to Robert Queen, who is his father. By the way. God, I'll stop doing that, fine. He busts them out, and Tommy's like unconscious, so he doesn't see anything. And when the police, who the detective is Laurel's dad, Quentin Lance, they ask him what the frick happened. I'm so sorry. And he says that a man in a green hood did it. Anyway, so he keeps on disappearing, he keeps on leaving, and so that causes his mom to get worried after the kidnapping. So she assigns a bodyguard, John Diggle. God, that just sounded like a horror movie. Anyways, so basically he escapes from John Diggle. He makes his own, secret place, and before his father died, he found a list of people, billionaires, who get their money off of stealing up from other people. He ticks off that list, gets new associates. Diggle finds out that he's the Hood, which is what they called him, and they both take crime down together until episode 9, entitled Year's End. In Year's End, what happens is that we've met this man already who is working with Moira Queen, and they know about the list, but they don't know that Oliver is the Hood. And basically, his name is Malcolm Merlyn, who's Tommy's dad. Anyway, so this man in the black hood, he appears one day and takes hostages on Christmas. Oliver has to take them on, but he gets the worst beating ever from this man in the red hood. They call him the Other Archer, but I think his name is the Dark Archer. I will stop it. Anyway, so at the end of the episode, it's revealed that it's Malcolm who's the Dark Archer, but no one else knows this. And what happens is that Oliver goes on this crazy crusade, but he can't really recover of the beating he got from the Dark Archer. In the end, Tommy finds out, and this tech girl called Felicity Smoke, she also finds out, and so, flashbacks. In the flashbacks, lots of things happen. He is rescued by a man named Yao Fei, but then these men, Edward Fires, who's a bad guy's men, come and take Yao Fei capture, and they take Yao Fei prisoner, and Edward Fires is working with this man named Billy Wintergreen. Anyways, upon escaping, Oliver meets a new friend named Slade Wilson. They train together to take on Fires and get out of the island. But then turns out Yao Fei is one of Fires' men. Oh my god, plot twist. What? And he's only doing this to save his daughter, whose name is Shadow. They save Shadow, but Yao Fei gets killed by Edward Fires. And Slade kills Billy Wintergreen. They escape from Edward Fires. And Edward Fires is about to kill Shadow, and then Oliver shoots him in the chest. That's just a brief summary of this.
Shadow! Slade!
Well, I should have figured. You couldn't save the day without making a mess.
Where's Shadow?
I thought she was with you.
Actually, she's with me.
Let her go. It's over, Fires.
Let her go.
Amazing. A 2-year operation undone because a young playboy happened to wash up on the shore. And now here you are, a killer. You wanted nothing more than to leave this island. And now you can. I can call in a rescue ship. You can go home. Tell me, Mr. Queen, are you prepared to sacrifice your freedom for her?
Freaking flashbacks. But back to the main story. So Felicity, Diggle, and Oliver, and Tommy wants nothing to do with his crusade, are trying to figure out who the Other Archer is while ticking off names and taking on villains like Count Vertigo and the Savior, whatever the frick their names are. In the end, the Other Archer strikes again, and one of his associates, and Oliver learns that one thing is called the Undertaking, who his mom and Malcolm Merlyn are involved in. And he eventually learns it's a plan to level an area of the city. Level, I mean destroy, aka the Glades. Thea's boyfriend lives there, and Thea gets mad at her mom when she tells the entire world on the news what Malcolm's plan is, and that she was a part of it. Basically, she goes on trial, and Oliver finds out that Malcolm is the Other Archer. And then Malcolm finds out that Oliver is the Hood. Anyway, so Oliver, long story short, Oliver takes on Malcolm while the entire city is gonna be destroyed. Detective Lance tells Laurel to get out of the precinct before it's destroyed, but she decides to stay there and continue with her work. Oliver fights off Malcolm, and then Tommy goes in to save Laurel, dies as the city explodes, and Oliver stabs an arrow through Malcolm's chest, and the city is destroyed. End of season 1. Alright, so there's a lot to talk about because this season is the CW's masterpiece. What I'm trying to say is that it's beautiful, violent, and how Oliver just decides to 100% disobey any superhero's rule and freaking murder everyone who he encounters and a bunch of people. It makes him an interesting character as he is unlike anything we've ever seen, and he struggles to keep his vigilante life because actually in the entire show he's not once referenced as a hero, he's always a vigilante. Why it's so interesting is because it has 2 stories and they're both executed perfectly in this first season. It feels like it was perfectly planned out to get good reviews because it's such a good season in the way its structure is. In one episode, there's episode 3 actually, Diggle finds out Oliver is the Arrow, or the Hood. He's called the Arrow in season 2 and 3. The Hood. And Oliver tells them that he has beaten the man who has killed Diggle's brother. And it's such a good arc as Deadshot, Floyd Lawton, for Diggle, because this season starts many arcs for many characters and what is now known as the Arrowverse, or the CWDC universe, where they've got shows like The Flash and Arrow and Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow, but no one really calls it that because, I mean, why would you call it that? But why is it such a good show compared to the others? Because of the starting season. It's beautiful. I don't think it's as good as season 2 because season 2 is just absolutely perfect. I'll make a video on that. But the reason why it is so good is because it's good. Oh my god, how do I say this? Because it fully fleshes out all his character arcs, like Count Vertigo, who is the reason why Vertigo is like a drug, which is why Thea was arrested. It's such a good rivalry between Oliver and Count Vertigo that's carried on into season 2 until, spoiler for season 2, he eventually dies and is shot by an arrow, even though Oliver chooses not to kill anymore in season 2. More on that later. Actually, more on that right now. Tommy was killed by Malcolm's undertaking, which caused Oliver not to kill in season 2. This is a masterpiece. It's the CW's masterpiece. Arrow season 1 is one of the best seasons in TV history, and it is only surpassed by its sequel in season 2, and spoiler alert, gets mediocre in season 3. I'm not saying season 3 is bad, I'm just saying it's mediocre. I don't like The Flash. Anyway, so Arrow season 1, no doubt, is a masterpiece. It's perfect in every single way, and it could only be surpassed by season 2. End of discussion.